All right, welcome into another episode of Nightmare Stories the Other Side. Tonight we welcome in Greg Bakun of Ghost Box Radio. Welcome in, Greg, and how are you doing tonight?
I am doing very well. Happy New Year. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yes. So can you give us a little background on yourself? I saw on your one of your episodes I was listening to, you've been doing paranormal for about 15 years.
Yeah, something like that. You kind of lose track after a while, I think, how long you're doing it because it's just, it's ever evolving. So,
Yep.
but I've been doing it for a long time. The thing I love about it is that you never know it all. It's always something new, and it's just been really a lot of fun, especially the last like 5 years of just kind of my mind being blown often by some of the stuff that I've been encountered, not only really through myself, but through other people that we work with and stuff. It's been a lot of fun.
So going back to the beginning, how did you get involved and want to do stuff in the paranormal field?
There's a lot of people who always have like the story of like when I was young, I got visited by so and so and blah blah. And I have to admit that that's not really the case for me. I mean, there was something when I was a child, but nothing that would be like, this is my path. I was watching the shows, back, in the early 2000s, and I was taken by the spirit box when I saw it being seen on television. At that point, it wasn't like an actual spirit box. It was, shack hacks, stuff like that. It
Yep.
was it was even for the TV shows, it was new technology. And so basically, friend of mine at work, I worked in downtown Minneapolis over at the Wyman building at the time, which was a building built in 1916, and we had the top floor. It's actually the same area that Prince used as his penthouse
Okay.
when he
Nice.
used to have Glam Slam in the basement or the first floor of the building that we were in. And so we one day I'm just like he didn't my friend didn't work at the agency all the time. He actually worked out of Texas. So when he'd come up, we'd be like, okay, next time you're up here, we're gonna do an investigation of the creepy basement, right? And I said, I'm gonna get a hold. At this point, the spirit boxes were being mass produced. I said, I'm gonna get a hold of one of these spirit boxes, and then we're gonna try it out. And so, um, I didn't, you're at that stage where you don't know what you don't know when it comes
Yep.
to this stuff. So you're just kind of like thinking, okay, like I hate to admit this, but like we set up cameras in the dark, but we didn't know what night vision was. So we got a lot of video footage of black. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just like
Right.
it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
And like we get the spirit box in, we go down to the creepy basement, and I'm sure you both would understand that, you know, you know what creepy is.
Oh
The
yeah.
creepy basement was not creepy compared to what I've been through the last 15 years. But it's funny back then that was scary stuff, even though it was fully lit. Um, so we're down there and turn it on and ask the question, can we get a name, please? And the name comes through of Nate right away, right away. And after that, we're just like, do you have a last name? And it's like Lund. And then we asked the question, what's your birthday? And it gave us a number.
Okay.
But then we asked, can someone else come through? And this female comes through and she just says, hello. And then later that night, we were upstairs and I just got a little bit more bold and I said, my name is Greg. This is Jeff. Can you say Greg and Jeff? And you get through the spirit box. And these are all things I recorded. Greg, Jeff, just like that. And at that point I was hooked. At that point I was just like, I don't know what this is going to lead to, but I want to do more of this because I'm in. I'm fully in on this. And so yeah, it was and that's what started it. And actually I didn't know anybody in the community at all. And I still don't really, quite frankly. But I actually dreamt about being a paranormal investigator, whatever that meant to me at the time, like nightly for about 6 months at
Hmm.
least. And it
Okay.
wasn't scary stuff either. It was just like I'm in a location and I'm supposed to be doing something.
Yeah.
Really exciting times, actually, really fun back then.
So like after that basement when you guys were investigating there, when you really got into it, can you recall what the first like location you investigated? Was it local or did you travel?
I was very much by myself, didn't know anybody. So I live on St. Michael. So I went over to Rogers and there's a cemetery out there, and I went in there and I had my spirit box and I went around to graves and I was respectful, and I just walked around and I was talking and doing all sorts of things. Old St. Walburga Cemetery is the name of the place,
Okay.
and walked around and I got nothing. I was really bummed about this. I got nothing. It felt very defeated, even though at the end I thought I saw a figure outside my car. I get home and I listen to it, the recording that is, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's nothing but responses. I'm just not hearing it out in the wild, and at that point, once again, you don't know what you don't know. So there was like stuff like that first time I used Spirit Box, I didn't have an external speaker. This time I
Hmm.
didn't have like a wind guard on my microphone being outside, stuff like that. But then it was like, okay, there's some really cool responses here, and it was actually correlating with some of the graves that I went to. It was absolutely incredible, and that's really where it was like, okay, I feel like that I started to feel like I have an affinity with this piece of equipment personally.
Okay. Yeah, because I see like yeah, because like for your ghost box radio, it's like you want to tell us a little about that and how that goes with the spirit box, and because like you for that, it's like you use a lot of your evidence from the spirit box.
Yeah, I start when I never had a team per se. I've always worked with individuals, and I started something when I started, like when I wanted to get out there. Being so enamored of Spirit Box, Ghost Box, I called my group of me Minnesota Ghost Box. And so at that time, somebody else, Jerry Ayers from Supernatural Investigators Minnesota, he was doing, which was new to me, was a radio show, what he called radio show on Para X Radio Network, and I started off doing it on Live Paranormal. At his suggestion, I actually went to school a while back for broadcasting. So I've always had. I mean, my whole career has been in broadcasting, it's been in filmmaking, it's been in commercial production, but I never thought I'd actually get to do radio. And so started doing it on Para X, and then I went from network to network. And then 5 years ago, I ended up going to AM 950, which I'm excited because it's an actual radio station. And I don't say that as a everyone else is doing something. It's not a real station. It was just like for me personally, though, I was like, I went to school for this, and now I'm on a
Yeah.
radio station. And in July of 2023, I started off doing it weekly. And in 2023, they asked me, it's like there was a radio show went away, and they're like, "Do you think you could do this nightly? Do you think you could do a paranormal radio show Monday through Friday?" And I didn't think about it. I said yes. And then I got home and I started to, crap my pants, quite honestly, because it is like, how are you going to do this nightly? Because it's a lot. I mean, as you all
Yeah.
know, anyone doing podcasts of any kind, a weekly, monthly, nightly, whatever, you're trying to find decent content to fill that time with.
Exactly.
So I mean, for anyone doing this, it's not hard, but it's not easy at the same time to make
Definitely.
it. And you want to make it like you want to differentiate it from week to week, night to night. That's sort of it's a lot to it. So I had a couple sleepless nights, but I thought I'm never going to get a chance like this again. Honestly, I never will. And also I really back in the day when Darkness Radio was on locally, and they came from the Twin Cities, Dave and Tim. When I was listening at the time, I thought to myself, boy, that would be fun to do. It'd be fun to do something like that. So when this came around, I just like, I have to do it. I have to
Yeah.
try. If I fail, I fail. But if it works, then it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm I'm a pretty much a band of one. I have Adam. He works in the show with me Wednesdays and Fridays, but it's really all down to me, and I don't regret it. I love it. I love every second of it. I work on it all the time, but I love it.
That's awesome. So, like, do you ever have special guests on that, or is that just, like the podcast that you do?
So I mean, every night there is somebody new, and back in the day I started, I really wanted to get, and I got a number of them. I've had people like Katrina Weidman on the show, Cindy Kaza. I've had Steve Shippey, Dave Schrader. I've had Dustin Perry on the program. I've had a lot of like the people that you see on the TV
Yeah.
shows. But lately I've been really wanting to focus on people who are just interesting, people who have something that's not just media related to the story of
Hmm.
what we want to do. I mean, back in about I think March of last year, I had Travis Walton on, and I was really excited about that because he's very interesting talking about his. He wasn't necessarily abducted by aliens; he kind of fell into it, so to speak. So you get some pretty incredible stories, and I've had a lot of people who come on. A guy named Matt Neen, who who was brilliant. He was absolutely just this genius, and he studied propulsion at a young age, and he tells the story of being kind of chasing after aliens in his house when he was younger, going onto a ship.
Hmm.
And it's such an interesting thing, and I don't know if anyone else would tell me that, I might not believe it, but he created a model of what he had seen, and he
Okay.
showed how it worked. And then he's just such a smart person, and I wanted to get him back on the show again, only to find out he had died,
Oh,
and
Hmm.
he
wow.
passed away. They say from COVID, and I'm not here to talk about like conspiracies regarding COVID and stuff,
Yeah.
but he knew a lot. And so you
Yeah,
do kind of wonder a little bit of
Right.
like that's odd.
that
That's
is
Yeah.
really
definitely odd.
strange. So I mean, but that's the thing, you get some of those stories, and when I bring people on, if they're on the show, it means I believe them. I'm not going to just ambush them or anything else like, oh, that's you never followed any aliens on the ship. No, I mean, if they're going to be on, it's because I believe what they say. I believe that
Right.
they believe what they say at the very least. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Because like when like I'm kind of the same way. Like when I search for guests, I want people to come on that have different unique stories. Yeah, it's nice to have like some of the bigger names, but it's like I want to talk to the people that are out there doing what I'm doing, lead normal lives, aren't in the social media spotlight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like personally for me, and I don't know. I mean, I certainly was in a phase of like, oh, I really think if I can get, like uh like Nick Roth. I did an event with Nick Roth,
Mm.
that online, and I thought, at the time, and this was about 4 years ago, like getting him on to stuff into my stratosphere, if you will, that's going to really blow up my show and stuff. And what I learned the hard way, but not in a way that hurt me or anything. But what I learned was that the people might come to see their favorite people on the show, but when they're not on the show, it doesn't mean necessarily they're all going to stay.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and the what we always find out at the station is that people generally listen for the hosts, not for the guests,
Okay.
Hmm.
ultimately, which, keep that in mind, you two, you know what I mean? Because it's like the following you have is because of you two, not
Yeah.
because of necessarily the guests, but the fact you're bringing on good guests.
Yeah. It's like,
I mean, and not to put myself in that
right.
realm, but you know
So
what I
it's
mean?
like
Yeah.
the highest profile guest that I've had on the podcast is Patty Negri. She's been on 3 times.
Yeah, I've had her on too. Yeah, very
Yep.
much so. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. No, I mean that's just it. But at the same time, I know that you have a friendship with her as well.
Yep.
So you're also bringing on a friend.
Yeah.
So, there's definitely that along with it too.
Yep. Yeah. That friendship's just kind of grown. since last April when we met, and we just investigated this last week. Was it
Yep.
last weekend, Courtney?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's already been a
it's already
week.
been a week.
And I still have a sprained ankle.
Oh, I heard it might be broken. That's what Natty was saying.
Well, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, you go get that looked at.
Right.
Anyways, so what are your takes since we were talking about UFOs and extraterrestrials? What's your take on them?
My take is on them the same as Spirit and like something like Bigfoot. And that I believe, and this has been a shift for me over the last 4 or 5 years, is that that it's all energy, right? So the way that I'm going to approach reaching out to Spirit is no different than the way I'd reach out to Spirit or Bigfoot. And I've had incredible results with both. So I do CE5 experiments. I do them using Spirit Box. We use stuff where we believe, and I say we because I've done it with other people, where we see figures. We see small figures that start looking alien-like, and we start seeing dancing light. We start seeing stuff starts happening that shouldn't be happening. A group of us have seen using the same methodology, had seen Bigfoot. We saw one at West Point at Fort Duffield with Denise and Ernie Pack. We've seen this stuff, and I almost feel like, in a sense, a bit of an outsider now because just for the show's sake, bringing on people like Lyle Blackburn or Robert Robinson or
Hmm.
someone like that who I they don't disbelieve the way that I've seen it, but they have their own theory about what those are. So it becomes kind of a little separate. There's room for everyone. There's room for all the theories and whatnot. But I truly believe I've seen all those, and I've seen some great crafts in the sky and stuff like that. And I've had some really interesting people on the show where we kind of talk about the fact is um, once you get noticed by them, they don't leave you alone.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the thing with that is I think that my first time I was noticed by them, if you will, was maybe 4 years ago or something. But who's to say it hadn't been longer? Who's to
Yeah.
say that it hasn't been like watching my family all those years? Um, it's it's the like the a couple of the cases. Why am I just lapsing on the memory of uh Betty and Barney Hill? I wonder, their niece Kathleen Martin, we talked with her, and I asked her, do you think actually that the first time that they can actually say that they've had experience with aliens was the night that they were abducted? But what if it's actually like aliens have been watching that family for
Oh,
generations
for sure,
beforehand?
right? Yeah,
Yeah, it's just very interesting.
definitely. Um, let's see, where was I? So going back to like investigations, have you ever done a CE5 while doing a paranormal investigation, or have you kept those separate?
No, I've not kept them separate. Uh, and sometimes reading energy, you can kind of get at least in my mind, at least I can feel when one is different than the other. We did one over at the Swenson family farm back in September where we felt like that there was something else, especially in the barn. There was this beautiful house and there's this amazing barn, and thought there was something else in the barn energy wise, and it just felt familiar to me. And so we started to kind of go down that route. And what we ended up with is like I thought it was basically Sasquatch energy, Bigfoot
Okay.
energy, what we call forest friend energy. And someone all of a sudden, because we were in a circle, not facing each other of chairs. It might have been like 8 of us, something like that. When we were in a circle, we had some of those. tripwires around us that lit up.
Okay.
And so I would ask a question and it would answer with only the light in front of me going off, first of all, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we had some REM pods behind us that would go off occasionally. Then we started seeing like the barn shift a little bit in terms of energy, in terms of how it looked. And then someone behind me is just like, guys, I just saw some eye shine. And yeah, for those of you not familiar with eye shine, that's very common at night with Bigfoot
Okay.
entities. It's like it's like this, but not like this at all. Like the reflection of a cat's eye when lights
Yep.
shine on it.
Yeah.
Except these actually light up. I've seen these many times now, and even in different colors. You got to be careful, so because sometimes it might be like a lightning bug might be confused for it in some way.
Yeah.
But seeing it inside the barn, we went out later that night using spirit box. It was meant to be a paranormal investigation. We went out in the farm field. Once again, it's September. It's pretty nice out. No bugs at least. We left some of the equipment in the barn that had these big doors on them, and we started seeing all the equipment lights go off in the barn. We could just see it. And then we start seeing basically shadows of entities going inside the barn. We start seeing eye shine all around us in the trees and stuff. This is going to sound laughable, actually, because it kind of is. I had the spirit box going, and all of a sudden, through the spirit box, something says, "I'm Bigfoot."
Oh, jeez.
What?
And
That's,
we had about 12 people with us out there, so it wasn't, and it's I don't believe for a second it literally was like a forest friend or whatever.
Yeah.
I actually wonder if it's a spirit mocking what we were doing, quite frankly.
Could be.
yeah.
Um, and the spirit box was really loud. I had it right next to me, really loud, and I hear Shar, who I do a lot of my events and stuff with. I hear her talk about the scream that they just heard, and I turn everything off right away. I'm like, "What are you talking about? A scream?" She goes, "I just heard her and Lisa, someone that we work with, just heard a massive, like this unyielding scream of like some kind of guttural animal." And at that point, something spooked all the coyotes around us and they just start going insane. And then amongst them doing their like howling, there is something underneath that sound, something else making like responding to them in a guttural sort of yell. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And
Sounds like that.
Mhm.
it was, it was scary, but not scary. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, what's to be scared of? What's going to happen is going to happen. And it wasn't about the coyotes, but it was more like what's spooking them. And
Right.
that was incredible.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
So, for investigations, what are some memorable places you've investigated here in Minnesota and then, around the country?
I've I think some of my favorites in the state here is like over at St. Anthony, Maine,
Okay.
in over in Minneapolis, birthplace of Minneapolis. Had friends who worked the real ghost tours when I started out. And so I would get in there free every week and
Nice.
I'd bring my spirit box. And that's where I really, um, for the lack of a better term, honed my skill in that because I would do that. And we started to get people showing up after a while who had been in those investigations because we were getting such good results with the spirit box that they wanted to just kind of keep going through and through again and seeing if anything new would come up. St. Anthony, Maine, at that time, that whole area wasn't really rented out. They had done a
Yeah.
great deal of renovation, so when they could, real ghost tours could get into areas that weren't rented out. Now that's very different now. Also, Soap Factory, just up the road from there, and that was I investigated there about four times, and it was fantastic, and just some great things happening there. And once again, it's one that you really can't get into anymore
Yeah.
because it's pretty because they completely changed it around. Also, I don't know if you ever heard of the Minneapolis trolley tours.
Yep.
They have 300 Clifton, which is used to be their home base for the trolley tours. Now it's a B&B that they own. Now they run the Pillsbury Club, and we just did an investigation there over Halloween for the show, and that was off the hook. It was incredible, and the way that building's set up, it's 200 years older on the inside than it is on the outside.
Really?
And
Where's that
yeah,
located?
that's
Interesting.
over by the Minneapolis Institute of Art.
Okay.
Just not too about a block up from that,
Okay.
going towards the city. But we did an event with them where they where we actually investigated some of the areas that they stop at. Normally they'll stop at some areas and they will just talk about them and we'll move along. But we were able to get into a couple of them, one of them being an apartment complex over in downtown Minneapolis. And we were only in there for about 25, 30 minutes. And what happened in there amongst all of us over that period of time so quickly was profound and so
Oh,
incredible. And nothing bad at all. But we really got Spirit to interact with us. One of the people who died there, he was gay and died at the time. I think it might have been even like a hate crime, and trying to explain to him about how things have moved on since then. Rights and stuff was very interesting, and John and Norman, who run it, they're both gay. So John was with us, and John, in a sense, was kind of a trigger object
okay.
because we could be like, John, can you tell us what life is like now, and that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
that you could be more open and stuff. So it was pretty incredible. Nopeming was very interesting. I've been up to Nopeming.
Nice.
And outside of, I mean, there are a lot of great places, but outside of that too, like Tombstone is fantastic. Gettysburg was life-changing. Queen Mary was incredible. Been to a few different places around. McIntyre Villa in Atchison, Kansas is incredible, incredibly active. So yeah, there's just so many really good places.
There are. Have you ever, excuse me, have you ever been to Edinburgh Manor down in Iowa?
We were going to go to Edinburgh Manor in the trip, one of the trips that we went to McIntyre, and we just ended up bypassing it because a couple of locations that we ended up going to on that trip was starting to adversely affect some of the people with us.
Okay.
And so just like, let's just cut this short because people are getting very depressed. It was really, and being I suppose they got attachments and stuff too that we were trying to work through. So I've yet to do Edinburgh of all places, which is actually kind of surprising, really, since it's not too terribly far.
Yeah, Edinburgh is amazing location. That's where I actually got my start, and I've been there, what, 5 or 6 times now.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's just like, I don't know, there's just something, it keeps drawing me back. It's like going twice this year, there might be a third time, who knows?
Wow. Wow, that's great. That's really cool.
But yeah, I was just like going through some evidence from my last trip there last night, and my daughter was down here listening to it, me, and we heard a disembodied voice, but then like as we were listening and trying to piece the two videos together, the one video had like 20 minutes of footage that was gone,
Hmm.
and then where we were hearing the disembodied voice, that video, I kid you not, was changing as we were watching it. It was like something didn't want us to hear it, so like the whole video changed. It's not the way it was when we started.
Hmm.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
pretty incredible.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, speaking of attachments, while I'm thinking of that, let's talk about your doll behind you. What's the
Hmm.
backstory on that?
So for a while, I was helping out at the Warren Legacy Foundation, and so I thought, and at that time, Chris McKenna wanted me to help with some of the like they were doing like a weekly stream and stuff. And so I thought, well, to kind of get in the mood and stuff, I got to get a Raggedy Ann doll. Cliched as it is, I just thought, okay, I still want to do it. And I went to Etsy, and she is actually vintage. She's not, she was actually, I think, from the 60s or something like
Okay.
that. And it was in February, a number of years ago, and I found out that the box had been delivered. I open up the front door. I bring the box in with her in it. And at that moment, literally at that moment, Char Savoy, who I do a lot of my events with, we do classes together, we do ghost stories together. She is, we work together on a lot of things. She's a psychic medium, and she sends me this note, and she goes, "What did you just bring into your house?" And I said, "A doll." And and she's just like, What is it?" And the thing is, it's what she picked up was a male energy. And I made the decision at that moment, actually, to treat this doll with a lot of respect. And that includes, like, if I have to move her and put her somewhere else, I'm not going to pick her up and just put her somewhere. I'm going to pick her up, sit her up. You know what I mean? When I come
Hmm.
in here, I'll say hello to her. I'll take. So where I am right now is my studio for the
Okay.
show, but it's just a room in a house, and it's actually an office, and it has French doors, it has glass, and it has like wood framing on it. And over there is my family room where I sit on my couch, and no matter what, if I have the doors shut or whatever, I'm sitting on the couch, I'm looking in. She is always perfectly framed in a window, always. And I'm not threatened by her. I don't feel any darkness or anything. It's just that I think that whether that was just at that moment that something was with her, or if there is still something there, I just find it very interesting that, and if say it's a coincidence, that's one of the greatest coincidences of all time, if you ask me,
Yeah,
that the moment, and because I'm not talking about, an hour later she reaches out. I'm talking about, I'm getting the ding that someone messaged me as I'm bringing her through the
that's
door.
insane.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty crazy. Because I literally was just like, "All right, Shar, you're never going to believe this," but as you wrote that, I just brought a doll into the house. Just insane.
Now it's kind of like
Crazy.
with our two dolls back there. It's like, my youngest daughter, she calls them divas, and she loves them. And it's like, we treat them with the utmost respect. If they come with us, daughter and I, if they come with us on our investigations, they're in the back seat, buckle them in, put like a jacket around them to prop them up. It's just like they're part of
Yeah.
the family.
Yeah, it felt to me that I needed to treat her respect. Like I say, sometimes I'll just like be in here doing something. I'll look at her and just be like, "What do you think?" I mean, she doesn't talk back to me. Don't think that I'm trying to get there. I'm not trying to be like she's implanting stuff in my mind. No, it's just that it's so interesting that just, because everywhere I look in here, she's looking at me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it just, it's like, well, if you're gonna do that, you might as well be respectful and say hello.
right.
I mean,
So
this isn't Robert the Doll sort of territory. I'm just being nice,
Mhm.
yeah, right, exactly.
I hope not, at least.
Um, so when you go on investigations for like, going into a location and leaving it, how do you take care of yourself?
Protection up front. And like I rarely investigate now, and this sounds diva-ish, and I don't mean it to be so. I rarely investigate with like serious investigations with other people that I don't know. I'm very I'm very cautious of that, only because I've been around enough people who don't take care of themselves in those
Hmm.
situations that I can't do it. Events are a little different because I don't consider those real investigations, like on a level of like we have a purpose here.
Yeah.
Events to me are, we do have a purpose to make sure everyone's having a good time, but also protect them as well. But this is like when I'm doing like an investigation for a client or something like that, and even for events, we'll obviously do a protection. It's the same sort of thing I do when I used to do my Facebook lives for Spirit Box sessions where, anyone who wants to take part, this is what we're doing and kind of go through a whole thing. And then at the end of it, it's the same sort of like, normally we'll smudge, ourselves outside,
Mhm.
and then we will, always make the claim you are not allowed to follow us. The investigation's over. This communication, this circle is complete. The door is shut. And and we ask people to say it as well, to believe it itself, to believe it itself. I've
Yeah.
had people at events, and I don't know what you all do, but I've had people who are like, "Yeah, I don't want to take part in that," and it's now become like, "Well, then you don't need to be a part of this event,"
Mhm.
because quite honestly, it's like this isn't about you. This is about the bigger picture, the bigger picture of people, and that's the thing that maybe people don't understand with events. This isn't a go at people going to events, but because they don't know the idea that we're a team. If we're investigating together, we're a team, so we have to watch out for each
Yeah,
other, no matter what it is.
exactly. So for events you do, is it just like what I see like once a month, the ghost stories and beyond, or is there more to it than that?
So we're doing like we our last big event we did was with Schrader at the Anderson House, and then we got really busy. But we do want to get back to doing events at locations and stuff. We have people, I'm not saying they're beating down the door, but we've had a couple locations like, are you going to do something with us? Are you going to do like, can we do an event or something? So would love to do that more. And I tell a lie. That wasn't the last event. The last event we did was at a Masonic lodge in Rush City, and then the Grand House, and that kind of went a little pear-shaped, but that's okay. Just energy wise, it got a little out of hand. You had some crappy energy that wanted to confuse and hurt people, and then you also had people who were also faking things as well.
Okay.
So, it just got a little out of hand, but we definitely want to do more. Obviously, Pillsbury Club, we're hoping to get back and doing one in there, and then a couple other locations that we have on, that we would love to just reach out to. And I think, and I'm sure you are the same way, want to find places that people haven't been to before,
Oh, for sure. And
you
it's like
know?
it just seems to me like here in Minnesota, it's like a lot of locations don't want to acknowledge the paranormal.
No, no.
It's like,
It I'm sorry. I was just gonna say because you're absolutely right. I think it's one of the greatest sadnesses I see. I see people all around the country talking about getting into government buildings and stuff and doing investigations, and you're like, that would never happen in Minnesota. That's
right.
like absolutely impossible.
There's
I
like
mean, yeah,
there's so many places I've reached out to that, I don't get email responses, reach out to multiple times, nothing. Or there's places I reach out to and then it sounds promising. Oh no, we can't do this. And it's sad. There's like so many great locations, but it's like I can name a handful.
I also have like there's been a lot of places I reached out to. A couple of them just like responded like they say themselves personally, I don't believe in any of this. And I write back to them. I said, "You do realize that this is a money stream. That you could make some money off of this.
Right.
And because honestly, I mean, if you don't, it doesn't matter if you don't believe. There's a lot of people who do believe, and that they would love to have the opportunity to check it out. So, yeah, I don't know. And I just had I was out in October in Stillwater at a location for a podcast. They interviewed me, and I didn't really know what to expect going out there. And it was one of those things because it wasn't a paranormal podcast, and they were just like, well, let's do an impromptu investigation right here, which to me is always a sign of this is going to go, not bad, like demons or anything, but it's more like when you put people on the spot like that, I don't know how well that's going to work.
Right.
But all of a sudden, we're in the basement of this place, and people who are like married to the hosts and stuff, they're in the background there, and I'm just like, do you see that mist next between those two people? And someone else was just like, I do see it. Oh my God. It's like forms as like a person. And the other two people that were by me, they couldn't see it. So it's like, okay, that's really interesting. And the woman, that was right next to it, I thought she could because she was like had her hands in the right place and stuff. But she couldn't see it either. It's just two of us out of like six of us who could actually see this mist, this entity.
Yeah.
And then other things we were doing started to really like that place was for the 20 minutes that we actually did something was pretty active. So it's like, yeah, I'd like to get in there. Is there a way that we can get in there, please? I would like to do an
Right.
event there, please.
Like we were just up in Duluth, over like the end of December, and we did one of the day tours at Glensheen.
Oh
My
yeah.
wife's like, she goes, "Why don't they do paranormal stuff here?
I
They
love that place. It's
they
so
could get,
beautiful.
so much in there." But it's like, again, I get it just because of like the history and everything being original, where they don't want people to wreck it. But it's like
Yeah.
you could get serious people in there to investigate. Like my daughter, when we were there, I can't remember what room she was in, but she said she saw white mist go through the room.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that places like I think that if they could if they could do it and control it. That's the thing. Like Wabasha Caves, they do it, they control it. The Swenson family farm, they do it, but they control it. It's like I think, in my opinion, you just don't let you don't let it be paranormal team driven. You let it be
Yeah.
event driven.
Yeah.
And if you want to have
Yeah.
a paranormal team gatekeep it, that's fine. But
Yeah. Or
I
even
mean,
for like Halloween,
oh
like
yeah,
the
absolutely.
like one time a year event.
Oh, I mean
Yeah.
they do really well this year.
Yeah.
Theater in the Round, they opened up, and friends of mine, David and Alicia Leonard. I don't know if you know them. They were the ones that were tasked to do the tours there. Once again, to your point, Courtney,
Mhm.
it was like I think two or three times over the course of like a month in October that they were leading these investigations, enough to get people super interested, but at the
Mhm.
same time, not to be able to, it doesn't go overboard. We
Yeah.
also do a monthly investigation in Anoka in the basements of Divine Lights, which is
Mhm.
a store on Main Street in Anoka. We're not doing one in January, but once the second Thursday of every month, we do a 3 hour investigation in the basement, and that's been a lot of fun. That's been
Mhm.
really good. Yeah. So I forgot about that because we haven't done it in a while, but it's really fun.
And then you also do the ghost stories and beyond up at, what is that, Billy's bar,
At
is it?
Billy's in Anoka, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just basically it's something that when Shar was on a paranormal team years ago, they did the same thing basically at Billy's where they just got people together to share stories and talk about stuff. And we've kind of I think we've elevated it a little bit because we try to bring in speakers because how many times can you get together 12 times a year and just be like, so did anyone have any new stories to tell? Because
Yeah.
we tend to get more of the people who are interested in the paranormal sort of crowd, not the teams and stuff. So we figured it's a great way to bring people in to talk about subjects, just talk about things. So, we've been trying to do like a topic every month. Like this at the time of recording this Wednesday, we're doing one about Minnesota local locations. We're going to do one in February about pets in the afterlife, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a lot of fun to do. People really respond well to it.
Yeah. So I just got to ask this just because. So I found you actually through Grady Hughes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Grady? He's gonna hate me for this, but I gotta talk about him.
I have nothing but positive thoughts about Grady. He's been super super supportive of what we've done. They've shown up at Ghost Stories. I'm assuming I'm going to see him this weekend or will be a week from now in Wabasha for the Para Fair. So and I guess what I really like about him and his team too is that we're kind of like-minded in a couple areas, and not to cause controversy or anything, but the whole Jason Haas thing, it just
Mhm.
drives me insane. And Grady has been one also to be like, yeah, that's kind of, it's kind of out there, kind of bizarre. And
Yeah,
just our personal opinions. My personal opinion, I know that, $350,000 worth of people disagree with me on that, but it's one of those things that, you know, it's nice to have some like-minded opinions and stuff. But yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, really, because I met him a year ago, and it's been really cool, and I appreciate all the just being a part of things and being supportive and stuff. I love it. I really appreciate it.
yeah. Grady is an awesome guy. I've known him since 2009.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, he was the best man in my wedding. I was the best man in his wedding. He's my daughter's godfather. He's the one that got me into the paranormal, so it's all his fault.
Mm.
So you think rather highly of him, I would
Oh,
say
oh
then, yeah.
yeah. Yep. He's my best friend. I
That's
would
great.
do anything for him. But yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Yeah, he's been very awesome to me. So I appreciate that very much.
Let's see. Courtney, do you have
Hmm.
anything? Turn it over to you for
I
another.
don't know. I kind of interrupted when I thought of something to ask, but do you go on like any other specific topics in the paranormal, like when you do your shows?
I try.
Um, like any outlying topics, I guess.
Well, I mean, I find everything open for, conversation. So like the show itself, we've been doing obviously ghosts, cryptids, aliens, a lot of metaphysical.
Okay.
We've done like past lives, we've done
Okay.
near death experiences. So I mean, I don't think anything is off the table.
Yeah.
And yeah, so because it does get, I mean, I love talking about ghosts and stuff, but I do wonder how much can you talk about, before you're just kind of like, oh, here we go
Yeah, there's
again.
so many other topics in the
Yeah.
paranormal. It's so big. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sure I'm not even scratching the surface yet. We have Suzanne Worthley. She's been on the show a number of times. I've known her for years. She is a psychic medium, but I don't, first of all, and I've said this to her, I don't think she's human. And I think that she is definitely like Star Child, but the way she talks about stuff is on a level that, I mean, at least for myself, that is just that's next level. Not even next level, but a couple next levels up, talking about the galaxies and talking about using different terminology for things, and it's clearly it's not made up. It's somebody who
Yeah.
knows stuff that I find that she is trying to find her place in a world that most people don't know what
Yeah,
she's talking about. But I've had her
Yeah.
on a number of times, and she's great. She's really good. So yeah. So yeah, I do. I try to as much as possible. And that, as you do a show enough, you just kind of also like what can I do that I'm interested in, So like this last year I had on somebody from fine Jody.com, Jody Husentrut, who was the news anchor uh that was taken 30 years ago, and no one's ever heard another word from her. She was down in Mason City, Iowa in 1995, and she was abducted, we believe. We don't know. We don't, there, but no one's ever found her body. No one's ever had any
interesting.
Yeah.
leads. So it's like
Yeah.
some true crime and stuff as well. And
I think
really,
those stories are weird where they like it's like they just disappeared. Like
Totally.
where to go, you know?
And the interesting part about that, and I brought this up to the person I talked to from Find Jody, and he was all about like, well, yeah, let's make this, if you want to talk paranormal about this and stuff, I'm all for it. I'm like, I don't,
Mhm.
as it happens. I don't because this isn't, I want to find out, as much as I can, only to find out that literally nothing has changed in 30 years. But I told him because there was a Hulu documentary about Jody Huisentruit, and in it, her best friend was like, she said at the end, she's like, I had a dream where Jody came out I'm on a stage sitting, and Jody came out and sat next to me, and she said, "Don't worry, I'm okay."
Hmm.
And I firmly believe, with spirits visiting in dreams, that I firmly believe that was Jody.
Mm.
So, and I used to do a show, an online show with psychic medium Miriam, and it was called Myth or Mystery, and she had been doing a lot of work with trying to figure out what happened to Jody and stuff, and I wanted to have her on the show, and she threw me a curveball, and that was that she said, "I think Jody is still alive."
Hmm.
Okay.
And that it threw me a curveball. Like, I don't know if I can have you on because I don't know. Like I said earlier, I'm going to have people on because I believe in what they're telling on the program. That one's a little hard for me to believe personally.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I mean, but that's what I love about this. At the same time, you're gonna
Yeah.
get people who are gonna blow your mind over the stuff that you think and you get someone
Mhm.
who's a good friend of mine challenging me, like, "No, Greg, I think she's alive," and that's incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
So besides, the few like the um Wabasha and then a few of the other events coming up in January and February, what else is on tap for you in 2026? Which is weird saying that.
Yeah.
I there was a vanity point to me for the last couple of years. I wanted to get Ghost Box out there as much as possible. Like every other paranormal whatchamacallits, that they want to get out there, they want people to know who they are and stuff. And I was screwed over by a few events last year that I was supposed to go to. And not the Para Fair, by the way. And I thought that was a learning for me that maybe what I need to do is worry more about doing stuff in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. Maybe that's where I should be doing my base. So there's going to be, I think, a lot more events from Shar and I this year. Shar does her own events as well, so I'll be at those. And then paranormal investigations. But we're gonna do stuff in Minnesota. I started about 8 years ago a company called Para Friends Events, and that's our arm for doing events. And since then, we have other people coming into the Twin Cities, even not in Minnesota, but like Get Haunted Midwest and other places doing events in the area. So it might be a little close, like a little
Yeah.
tight, but that's why, like with you all too, it's like we just try to find places that maybe no one's really ever heard of, just so that we can do something different. I've had people call me, like, how do we get into that Masonic Lodge? And it's like, well,
Mhm.
go ask them. I mean, it
Right.
wasn't a great experience, so I literally forgot the guy's name, and I didn't even keep his number. But it's just like that's the thing. Those people want to do those events. You find those resources because it's getting to the point a lot of people want to do stuff around Minnesota. And like you said earlier, Matthew, it's not a whole lot of space.
No.
And with like the Palmer House opening up and I say opening up because I was banned from there, with the Palmer
Ah,
House possibly opening up with Dave running
Dave.
it, that doesn't really appeal to me either because that's going to be his stomping ground. I used to do tons of events over there, amazing place, but I think my time with the Palmer House, even though I think that ban would be lifted, I think
Yeah.
that time is probably over anyway. So,
Mhm.
But yeah,
which is
for like,
fine.
for investigating for me, it's like, yeah, I like to stick, to the Midwest, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. But then I always got to do the one big road trip where you go out east to a couple locations, but mainly I like to stick local just because travel wise, it's like
Mhm.
close.
When I went out to Gettysburg, I drove, and that was
Oh
fantastic.
my gosh.
That was amazing. That was such a great trip. And even since then, there's places that we went to that are outside of Gettysburg that we did investigations at and stuff. Those have closed now. And it's so hard to keep that stuff open, you
Right.
know. That's why I always say hunt local, That's like, if you like the places that are around you, support them
Yep.
because you don't know. I mean, what people are really missing out of is down in Pipestone, the Calumet Inn. It's one of the best places I've ever investigated, and it's a big hotel, currently closed. Maybe someday it'll open, I don't know, but it's just this amazing location. And I hope that people have the opportunity to investigate it one day because those spirits are active over there, and there's a lot of them all over the place that are closed for various reasons. I mean, even Nopaming, that's not even allowing people in anymore.
Oh no,
So,
you can't. You can park on the side of the road and walk up there, but
Mhm.
like I've heard if you leave your car there, you're gonna get a ticket and there's trail cams. So it's like even if you just want to go get outdoor pictures, you're gonna get nailed.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, when I was there all those years ago, I mean, we were there legally, but even still, there's people patrolling and they had guns.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
geez.
it's just like, I don't think I want to be on that end of
No,
things.
for sure.
I'm not. I don't need to be in there that badly. But
It's
I was
like
happy to do it.
But it's like every time you drive up to Duluth, just seeing it from 35, it's like, okay, there's my Nopaming fix. That's all, that's as close as I'm gonna get.
And take the picture with your eye, right?
Yeah. But I'm
Yeah.
just waiting for one of these days when I get up there to see a smokestack crumbling down because that thing's starting to lean more and more all the time.
Is it leaning more and more? I mean,
Yep.
and we were in that building and a bat attacked us.
Oh, nice.
I mean, of course it will. I mean that and there's one area at the time, I don't know what it's like over there anymore, but there was like one corner of a floor that is where they lived. The people who ran the place, they lived there, and the rest of it
Okay.
was this asbestos filled, disaster that we were all so happy to investigate in and just, breathe it all in. We saw the biggest spider in the world in there.
No thanks.
And
No.
and one of the guys, he was just like, as we were kind of walking near their area, he's like, "Do you want to see where the bodies would be dropped down the chute?" I
Sure,
do.
why not?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do want to
of
see
course I
that.
do. Uh,
Can I go down there too? No. Oh.
All right. Oh, Courtney, do you have anything else?
no, not that I can think of, no.
Yeah, I think I got everything that I had on my list. So one last thing I like to do on our podcast is give you a chance to, let people know where they can reach out to your socials, website, any of that good stuff.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that. My radio show is Ghostbox Radio, airs on AM 950 Monday through Friday at 10:05 p.m. live. You can also watch the video stream on my Facebook page, Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakun, as well as my YouTube page at Minnesota Ghostbox or at MN Ghostbox Official. And then, you can, if you wouldn't mind, follow me on Facebook at Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. That would be great. And my website is ghostboxradio.com.
All right. And I hope to see you soon. I plan on getting out to some of the ghost stories and beyond and maybe some of the investigations.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Are
need
you are
I
you
need to get out more.
are you in the Twin Cities?
Yeah, I'm in Maple Grove.
I thought you were in Maple Grove.
Yeah.
You're just a hop, skip, and a jump from me.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
Courtney is down in Lakeville area, so she's not that much further away.
No, no, it's in Twin Cities. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, very cool. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm hoping we get something moving here. I have a lot of ideas, but as you both know, because you're both doing it too, not enough time. There's never enough
Oh
time.
my God, there's not.
No.
Mm-mm.
It's just I've been going over podcast dates the last couple days. I'm just like, just looking at them, it's like just planning them out, shuffling a few things around and getting stuff ready. That's taxing right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was very happy. I planned all of January out. That's completely filled up now with guests, and now I'm working on February. And for me, because it's like that's about, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20 guests. Um, that's I have to work that far ahead because I otherwise it's just going to be, just like close friends on the show. Hey, can you come on tonight? Because I don't have anybody, that sort of thing. And you don't want
Yep,
that. You want it to be good
Hmm.
people. So, that gives me time to really think about who can I have on and reach out and
exactly.
have them either respond or not respond. And
Yep, there's always gonna be the ones that don't respond.
always, always, yeah, no, but it's good. It's good. I've been blessed and coming up on the third year of doing it nightly.
That's awesome.
So far so good.
Well, keep it up, and
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm gonna start listening. I gotta, there's so many podcasts I want to listen to and get
Yeah,
caught up, and it's like I always say I'm gonna do it, but again, you know, gotta try to find the time with like two young kids and work
it's
and
tough.
everything else.
I don't
It's
know
like
how far you drive to work, but I listen to all that stuff on my way to work
I
because
only drive
sometimes I
like
have an hour drive, so it's
yeah,
like
I only got a
perfect.
15-minute drive, so that doesn't really do it. So
Well, a little chunk at a time makes a
yeah,
difference.
I don't listen to a lot only because I don't want to get ideas from other shows. If you get
Yeah.
me,
right.
I get a little worried because it just so happened I had for there was a streak of time that I was booking guests, and literally the next week a very well-known radio host was having the exact same guests on literally a week after I
Oh,
would have them on. And I just like I'm not mad or anything, so be it, whatever, but it's
Yeah,
just like, yeah, I see what you're doing, and I don't want to be blamed for doing that sort of thing personally. So
yeah.
right. But yeah, so like, for my podcast too, it's like I'm expanding a little bit, doing stuff on UFOs and even reaching
mhm.
out to people that like, are into like acting or, horror themes. So kind of spreading it out from the paranormal. So it's a little different.
And Courtney, you had mentioned if I do anything, one of my big interviews this last October, which I was really excited about, is I had Sarah Karloff on the show, Boris Karloff's daughter,
Oh, nice.
and that was great. I mean, that's the sort of thing like we talked about. Is like I kind of push myself like, who can I get that I really want and see how I can get them on because especially in case of Sarah, she's 86. So, I think time is not really on her side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and she gave me nothing new, which I wouldn't expect her to give me anything new, but it was just nice to have her on. Or I've had uh uh Vampira. I've had her uh niece on.
Okay.
And that was really cool because Vampire has been gone for, 20 years now. But and it was talking about her talking about the lawsuit of Elvira, that she believes Elvira is a direct copy of Vampire. So
Okay.
really interesting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. All
Yeah.
right. Well, we thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
and you take care, and we shall chat soon.
Yeah, let me know when you plan on dropping this, and I'll let folks know.
All right, I definitely will.
Very nice to see you. Nice to meet you, Courtney.
Yeah, you
All right.
too.
All right.
Alrighty, take care.
Have a
Bye
good
bye.
night. Bye.
You too. Bye bye.